Hi, welcome to another edition of Pauline Interviews. My last interview was with a shaman, Jan Engels-Smith, local here in Portland. And I have Jan again as a guest because she's so fascinating that we had so much to talk about. And we're doing our show from the New Renaissance Bookstore in Portland, Northwest Portland on Northwest 23rd. It's a wonderful place to find all kinds of books, crystals, learn about classes here. And they're open 7 days a week, starting at 10 a.m. and they go until the evening. So there's plenty of time to come and visit. So Jan, I'm so happy to have you here again. I had so much fun interviewing you last time. We talked about you being a shaman, how you got into shamanism. Now we're going to talk about a school you started. It's called Light Song. So how did your school come about?
It came about because I was seeing individual clients in my home, primarily doing soul retrieval work. That is my modality. And to this day, I have done a little over 3,500 of them, which is probably more than anybody else at all. I mean, it's a lot of soul retrievals. And I have always felt that it was a gift for me to be able to move into that energy and work with somebody else's soul. That was such a gift to be able to have that kind of privilege to be able to do that. And I always felt that the work wasn't always just for the person, but I was learning so much from the spirits about life and lifetimes and energy systems and karma and incarnation and things that will overshadow you and things that will block you. Just every session was just full of information.
So you were actually a school. You're teaching people how to do soul retrievals, or you
Not yet. This is in my preparation for the school. This is me doing work on individuals. I was learning this.
That's interesting. What is a soul retrieval, actually?
A soul retrieval is, let me use an analogy, okay? My favorite analogy to describe soul retrieval is to think of yourself as a jigsaw puzzle. And so when you're born with all of your pieces in the jigsaw puzzle. When you go through a trauma or go through really just humiliation, or it's different for different people, there's a piece of that puzzle that leaves. In psychology, we call that disassociation. You disassociate. It's a human mechanism, behavior mechanism, that's good. It numbs you out so that you don't have to be fully present for whatever you're going through, a loss.
It's a survival technique.
It's a survival technique of the human body so that it doesn't fully feel the impact of the pain. What psychology doesn't say is, well, where does that go and how do you get it back? And so if we use our analogy of the jigsaw puzzle, you lose a piece, you lose a piece, you lose a piece, you lose a piece. Now, you've got all these holes in your system. Those holes will fill up with faulty things. They will fill up with the energies of the environment that you expose yourself to or that you are exposed to. So you take this really divine, beautiful, healthy system, and it's got intruding energies of a lower frequency in it. I think of the human soul as a very high frequency divine energy of radiance, of brilliance, of magnificence. It's extraordinary.
You have a wonderful photograph, and we'll show it. Phil will be able to show it on the camera. I just love that photograph where it shows where we really are and what happens to us as we, lose our soul pieces. Yeah.
And so, again, we become these versions of ourselves that are actually not true. But they're versions of ourselves from our wounded perceptions.
So this caused physical illness?
Absolutely. Well, in shamanism, every physical illness is first a spiritual illness. or an energetic illness, let me say it that way. So a shaman doesn't go with labels. Like if you were to come in and you say, well, I have cancer or I have a broken heart, it's handled the same way. It's an energy intrusion. It's something there's a problem in the energy system that then shows up as a symptom of this illness, or a symptom of this, or a symptom of that. So everything is addressed the same way, through taking out the things that don't belong there and putting back the things that do belong there. And putting back the things that do belong there is the soul retrieval. I'm actually going to go out and work with my spirits, find your energy that's just yours, Pauline, it's just yours. It's your signature. No one else gets it. Mm-hmm. No one else can use it. Mm-hmm. And it's yours. Find that, bring that back, and literally put it back inside of you.
And how is that done? I mean,
it's done through ceremony. It's done through the shaman, or the going into an altered state of reality. They move. You know, I can get into a big explanation of that, which probably isn't all that necessary.
Another interview.
Yes. They move into an altered state. They are working with a team of allies in the invisible realm that we're all assigned to. The Lakota people believe that when you're born with 405 helping spirits. Now that's just not a handful, that's an army.
Everyone is?
Everyone is, And so it's not that you'll ever know them all, but it's not a literal number, but it's like there's so much help available if you'll just get out of the limitations of your brain and what you think is real and open up to another possibility.
How did we get so limited?
Well, it's our culture. I have a lot written on this. This is one of my favorite topics. It's in both of my books. And it's what we live in what we call a left brain dominant culture, which means everything that's important to us is about logic, reason, cause and effect, how much it makes sense, language, all these things that are extremely structured and limited. We don't even develop the right side of the brain, even though we're born more right-brained. And in the right side, the best way to describe it, and again, it's not either or, I'm just using these as concrete terms to try to describe something. But the right side is where children are, and they see that magic all the time. They see between the worlds. I have infant twin granddaughters right now. And one of them, she's so fun, because when she looks at me, she goes like this. And she's, and I know that she's just watching all of the activity.
She might be looking at your aura.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what she's looking at. Or all my helpers that are around me. They can still see it. And there's cultures around the world that are not real left brain. They're more right brain. And my favorite culture to describe this is the Bushmen of Africa, which are the best trackers in the world. They say that they can track a mouse in the moonlight on rock. Okay, now how do you do that? You're not looking for things that we would look for, which would be a bent twig, it would be an impression, it would be something that's, a tangible, logical sign. Mm-hmm. No. They're looking at the energy system. And when something walks, it leaves a little bit of energy. I always say it's like fairy dust. You just leave it behind. And that's what they're seeing. Because they're in their right side. And when you're in the right side of your brain, it's like dreaming. Mm-hmm. There's no cause and effect. There's no logic. It's like you can be sitting here and you can be on a mountain, and it's all now. Okay, the other thing that the left side, and this is the biggie, the left side dwells in the past and worries about the future, and it's where the ego sits. So it's all ego-driven. Mm-hmm. So you're asking, why do we do this? It's because we determine our whole livelihood, our whole existence on what has happened to us. It has nothing to do with the now. It happened before.
You're holding on to that energy.
You're holding on to the energy, and you've had the soul loss. We also are a culture that's not fixing things energetically, so we get caught in it. But anyway, to get back to the point, we live in these very limited versions of ourselves. And I was doing these soul retrievals, and and the spirits are the ones that have taught me all this. When I'm saying that every soul retrieval I'm learning, they're the ones that are showing me how this works. Okay. So people were saying, how can I do this? How are you doing this? I want to do this too. And I'm going, yeah, sure, let's do it, because I love it. And so we'd start doing groups in my basement. And until finally I was just outgrowing the basement, and my husband was tired of taking all the furniture out to have space down there, to have people. And so we started renting space, and we went from, being very small into, we're the only school in the United States that offers bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in shamanism.
I saw that. If somebody's just interested in taking a class, do they have to get a degree? Can they just take a class?
No. And I'm glad you asked that. Most people take it for casual interest. Like, oh, I've had this calling. I felt like there's something more. I'm tired of feeling funky all my life. I'm tired of being wounded. And they come to the school and thrive.
How can they get in contact with you if they want to take some classes or even get a degree at your university?
Lightsong.net. You can contact me directly at info@lightsong.net. We actually have a Max train that will come out. No. I mean, that's the big advertisement's going to be on it.
Oh, really?
It's coming out next week. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So I have a huge podcast following. If people want to listen to more about shamanism, I go through lots of different things, lots of different examples, very informative. That's a free service to the public through the podcast.
I'm going to jump back just a minute. When you help people and you get those pieces back, and by the way, I thought your puzzle analogy was perfect. I had a soul retrieval, so I kind of knew a little bit about it. But they don't necessarily keep those parts, right? I mean, they could lose them again.
You lose energy daily, okay? Because we're an energetic system. Again, we think of ourselves as solid, but we're really not. We're just this energy system that appears solid as anything else that is solid. It's moving molecules. You'll have core wounds that you didn't address, usually as a child. Now, in a shamanic culture, I was been told that they did a soul retrieval within 3 days after any major event that happened to you. The soul was right there. I mean, have you heard the term, I'm just beside myself?
Yes.
Okay? Yeah, you've just moved out of your body. You're just beside yourself. It's right there, very easy to do. Put it right back in. And their telltale sign that you had lost your soul is because you weren't singing, you weren't happy. And if you look at these cultures, they were notoriously happy and crime-free. Crime is an indicative...
And they were poor.
Of woundedness, if not being healthy. So the soul retrievals were relatively easy, and they were done very soon after a major event. In our culture, maybe, my clientele used to be in the range of 45 to 65. You're finally fed up with your life. You've had major losses. You're fatigued. You're exhausted because you've lost so much of your divine essence. You're just run down. And then they end up, or I always say I'm the last person on the totem pole. The doctors can't do anything with me. I've tried counseling. I just turn away. Can you help? Let's give it a try.
Can I ask you this? Here's where I want to ask you this. Can shamanism work with medicine? Allopathic, traditional medicine?
Oh, absolutely. I invite counselors to come in. I invite doctors to come in to sessions.
And how do they respond?
They love it. If their ego isn't so big that they, if they're really in the service to be helpful to their patient or to their client, they're very usually responsive. I've done priests, nuns, ministers, rabbis,
All
you
walks
know,
of life.
All walks of life. It's not a religion. It's a healing method. You know. But anyway, you bring in this energy, and for a shaman in today's world, sometimes it's quite a task, because you might have lost this energy when you were 3 or when you were 10. And so there's a complex matrix of wounds going on here and intrusions that need to be figured out. So I feel that the shamans today that are practicing have a much more complicated job.
I say they have their work cut out for them.
They have their work cut out for them. And we use the ceremonies, the ancient ceremonies, but they have to have an updated flavor. And that's why we changed our name as Lightsong School of 21st Century Shamanism and Energy Medicine, because we're constantly doing research on the complexities of today's illnesses. Like OHSU had contacted me.
Really?
Because they didn't know what to do with the veterans coming back with, PTSD. It was so complex that none of their modalities were working. So we did a pilot study. It's now published in a medical journal, and had great success. Not perfect by any means, but really good success in comparison to the medical world not having any success. This is a big problem that we're facing with these guys. They're very wounded and very fragmented.
I'm so encouraged that they are actually looking into this.
There was one
to help
man.
them.
Yeah, there's one. It's a network of things that it all happened to fall again in our lap. And I asked them. I said, "Why us? Like, why did you pick us? There could have been a lot of other choices out there." And they said it was your curriculum. We looked at the curriculum that you're teaching at the school, and we can see that it's laid out very well, where we know that the practitioners that are going to be doing the work in these studies, how they're all trained, and it's provable. And so my dream, my actual goal, is that shamanism and energy medicine gets to be recognized as a strong alternative healing modality that then insurance companies will pick up, and people don't have to pay out of pocket for it, because the practitioners have gone through the training as in any doctoral program. It's expensive, and you put your life into the training, and then
You can't offer it for free.
you can't offer it for free.
Yeah.
But the quality is there, and we want to help more people, and we need to be supported by the places that support us, to get treatment, because it's powerful. It's very, very, very helpful, and it works in conjunction with whatever else you're doing. It's not, don't stop taking your medications.
Health is body, mind, and spirit. So the shamanism part of it is important, the spirit.
Yeah. My husband was very, very ill last year. We almost lost him about 4 times.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I know that the thing that saved him was the shamanic work. In fact, the doctors had said to him, "We've never had anybody survive this. We don't know what to do."
Do you want to tell me what it was and how you helped him?
I don't. Nah.
You don't have to.
But
Okay. Yeah.
I just said to the doctors, "Can I bring in my teens?" And they said, "Absolutely." And so I believe, without a doubt, that the reason he survived was because of the shamanic work.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because we won't pry, but what I believe is that nothing's incurable. I believe that anything can be curable. You've just got the hard part is just to find the right help.
Yeah.
So this encourages me that OHSU contact. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. Is there anything you want to add
About the school? Well, yes, there is.
Okay.
I invite the public to come learn. Anybody can learn how to do this. And it's not that it's, you have to become a shaman It's your birthright to know how to take care of yourself energetically. I wish that they'd teach it in grade school and high school, because the things that we teach help you just be a better human being. I can take better care of myself. I can take better care of my family. I can take better care of my pets. I can take better care of my grandchildren. I can take better care of my land, my house, everything, because everything is an energy system. And what we learn how to do in class, you can apply to anything. You can apply it to your office, to your corporate meetings. It doesn't matter. It's all energetics.
Yeah.
And when you have these basic skills, which I think are fundamental to life, that our culture has just negated and forgotten about, you will live a life that's thriving. You will live a life that's happy. And you get to feel joy and empowerment, like, oh man, I can do something here. I'm not a victim to the system.
Right.
And so it's for everybody. And I invite you to come. We have so much fun. I really like to have a good time.
Yeah, why not? And you're feeling healthy, so you can.
Yeah, and when we're in class, we have such a good time. We really learn the power of positive thought and how to create wellness.
This is a great way to end. It really is. I want to do another interview at some point about energy, because I think part of the problem is we just see ourselves as physical. We can't see well, some people can see, like you can see energy, and sometimes I can, but most of the time people don't see energy, so they don't realize that that's a more important part of them than their body.
Yeah.
Like, we'll show that picture too. The body's only a small part of you. You're a magnificent, amazing spirit that can accomplish anything, and your birthright is to be healthy and happy.
That's right. That is what we came here to do. I mean, being human is like exceedingly special. We are the creator beings in the planet. It's a really special place to be, and a lot of people just throw it away and get tangled in their wounds.
I feel sorry for them, though. I think a lot of times it's not their fault.
No.
Yeah.
No fault or blame. It's just a reality that's there, and how can we help?
Okay, I'm going to add something, Jan. First off, I want to thank you for another wonderful interview. And then I want the people who are viewing to know that you are going to be doing a class at Lewis and Clark, January 12th and 13th, and it's called Through the Rabbit Hole. Through the Rabbit Hole. So now my shows run consistently, I should say. So just to let you know, I'm going to put a date and time on this interview. We're interviewing here the end of November 2018. So Jan's lecture Through the Rabbit Hole is going to be 2019, January 12th and 13th. So if you're watching this sometime in the future, in 2020, it's gone. Thanks so much but we'll keep interviewing Jan. She's awfully fascinating. Thank you again for watching another edition of Pauline Interviews.